I never planned to take the back roads that night. I was already exhausted driving alone just after midnight when my GPS suddenly rerouted me, promising it would save nearly 40 minutes if I avoided the interstate. I didn't question it, I just followed the glowing blue line as it pulled me off the highway and onto a narrow, unlit road that felt wrong the moment my tires touched it. The trees grew close on both sides, their branches arching overhead, like they were forming a tunnel. There were no houses, no streetlights, no signs of life, just darkness swallowing everything beyond my headlights. Around 12:37 a.m., I passed a rusted metal sign barely visible in my beams. It read, "County maintenance ends. Travel at own risk." I remember laughing nervously and saying out loud, "Yeah, okay," like that would somehow protect me. The road immediately worsened, potholes jarring my suspension, the forest pressing in tighter. 10 minutes later, I noticed headlights in my rearview mirror, far back at first, too far to worry about. But they stayed there. They didn't pass. They didn't fall behind. I sped up slightly. They sped up. I slowed down. They slowed down. A cold knot formed in my stomach as I realized they were matching me perfectly. The road twisted sharply, and for one brief moment, the headlights vanished behind the trees. Relief flooded me, until they reappeared again, closer than before. Much closer. My mirrors shook as a massive shape loomed behind me, its headlights dim and amber, barely illuminating the outline of a truck far larger than anything that should have been on this road. I couldn't see a license plate, no markings, nothing. I reached for my phone and tried calling 911. No service. The truck honked once, long, low, deliberate. My GPS screen suddenly went black. The radio crackled to life on its own, cycling through static until it landed on a faint sound that almost resembled breathing. That was when I understood something was very wrong. This road wasn't empty, and I wasn't alone. I slammed the radio off, but the sound didn't stop. The breathing continued low and wet, like someone exhaling directly into my ear. My hands tightened around the steering wheel as the truck behind me crept closer, its headlights flooding my car with a sickly yellow glow. I could feel the vibration of its engine through my seat, like it was breathing too, alive and impatient. I pressed the accelerator harder, my speed climbing past what felt safe on a road this narrow, but the truck stayed glued to me, unbothered by the curves or the uneven pavement. Then the road dipped sharply, my headlights briefly illuminating something standing ahead. I screamed and swerved, barely missing a shape in the road. When I looked back, my stomach dropped. It was a wooden barricade, splintered and half collapsed, like someone had dragged it across the road and abandoned it. Fresh scrape marks glistened in the dirt. Someone had been here recently. Someone had wanted me to stop. The truck honked again, short this time, almost playful. I spotted a narrow turnout ahead, marked by a faded sign that read, "Scenic Overlook." I didn't want to stop, but the road beyond it looked even worse. Tight, winding, and completely swallowed by trees. As I hesitated, the truck surged forward so close I could no longer see its headlights. All I could see was darkness pressing against my rear window. Panic took over. I jerked the wheel and pulled into the turnout, gravel spraying as my tires skidded. I expected the truck to roar past me. It didn't. It stopped, directly behind me. The engine idled loudly, filling the silence with a deep, mechanical growl. I locked my doors, my fingers shaking as I fumbled for my phone again. Still no signal. I glanced into my rearview mirror and froze. The driver's side door of the truck slowly creaked open. A tall figure stepped out, unnaturally thin, his movements jerky, like he wasn't used to standing upright. He didn't walk toward my car, he just stood there staring. Then he lifted his arm and pointed past me, toward the dark woods ahead. My GPS flickered back on for a split second. The screen displayed a single message before dying completely. Do not stop here. The man began walking toward my car, his footsteps crunching softly on the gravel. I put the car in reverse without thinking, and that's when I heard something behind me. More footsteps, from the trees. I slammed the brakes before I could reverse any farther. The footsteps behind me stopped instantly, like they'd been switched off. My heart pounded so hard it felt like it was shaking my vision. I stared into the darkness beyond my headlights, trying to convince myself I'd imagined it. Then something moved between the trees. Not fast, not slow. Careful. Like it knew I was watching. The man from the truck was closer now. Close enough that I could see his face clearly in my side mirror. He was smiling, but his mouth was wrong, too wide, stretched tight at the corners like it hurt to hold that expression. His eyes reflected my headlights in dull white dots, unblinking. He tapped on my rear window once, just once. I screamed and hit the accelerator. The car lurched forward, tires spinning on loose gravel before finally catching. I shot back onto the road, my headlights bouncing wildly as the forest closed in around me again. In my rear view mirror, the man didn't chase me. He simply stepped back into the truck, calm and unhurried, like he knew exactly what would happen next. The road ahead began to change. The pavement cracked and narrowed until it barely fit my car. Trees leaned inward, branches scraping my roof like fingernails. Then my headlights caught something painted on the asphalt. Words. Big white letters stretched across the lane. Turn around. I laughed hysterically, shaking my head. No, 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 I muttered. I wasn't turning around. I couldn't. But the road ended less than 100 feet later. Dead stop. No warning, no barricade, just a drop-off into darkness. I slammed the brakes, my car skidding to a halt inches from the edge. My chest burned as I gasped for air. I threw the car into reverse, and my engine died. The silence was instant and suffocating. No wind, no insects, no distant highway noise, just my own ragged breathing. Then headlights flared behind me. The truck had returned, blocking the road completely. Its engine stayed off. Doors opened. More than one. Shadows spilled onto the road from both sides as figures emerged from the trees. Tall, thin, wrongly proportioned. They moved toward my